This podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game.
Between the time when gamers played with miniatures and chainmail and the rise of the Wizards of the Coast, there was an age of advanced role-playing undreamed of. And onto the Skygax, destined to bear the jeweled crown of TSR upon a troubled brow, it was given to teach us all how to roll for initiative.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to the Roll for Initiative podcast. This is volume number 3, issue 144. DM Vince sitting here with DM Matt.
Hello, everyone.
DM Chad.
Hey, yo.
And DM Nick.
Greetings, everyone.
I guess, everyone, this is May the 4th be with you today.
Yes.
As of recording, it is May 4th.
Yes, May the 4th be with you.
And when you listen to it, it won't be May the 4th.
Yes, it won't. Yeah. But tomorrow you can have Revenge of the 5th.
Oh, gosh.
Say 5th.
Lord of the 5th.
Yes.
Only Sith speak in absolute.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a wonderful show for you this week. Before we get into things real quick, North Texas RPG Con coming up in June.
Woohoo!
Weekend of June, you can come to the DFW area, Dallas-Fort Worth area, and join in on the fun. Lots of old school games going on from the 70s, 80s, and I think a little bit of the 90s. And
are we considering 90s old school now?
Yeah, apparently this time we have to. So.
Oh, man. That means Shadowrun's old school.
Shadowrun is considered old school according to that convention, yes.
I'll be damned.
You'd have to play probably second or first edition, probably third edition Shadowrun might make it on that list, depending on what era, what year it was made.
Oh,
yeah, wow. It depends on what I would consider FASA Shadowrun old school, but when you get into the Game Pro and WizKids Shadowrun, not so.
Yeah, I was thinking the FASA one anyway, and then probably like the original Cyberpunk game. And
yeah. You can even go. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other games that would probably have there. V&V will be there as well. Visions of Vigilante, even though the new edition just came out, I think, by Jeff D.
Cool. Most excellent.
That's allowed. It all depends on who was designing the game, and that determines if it'll be there or not.
Sweet.
So obviously, if someone like Tim Kask came out with a new game, it would be there because, Tim Kask.
Because it's Tim Kask, yeah.
But if it was a game that was made by, I don't know, Wizards of the Coast, it probably wouldn't be there.
Well,
such as Next or...
what? What's next? What's next? Are we talking about? Yeah.
You won't see Pathfinder there as well because they don't allow Pathfinder, even though Pathfinder does have that kind of old school feel to it a little bit. But no, you will not see it there. You'll see some Earth Dawn. I did see, I think, a game for that. Remember Earth Dawn by Foster?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Pretty cool game. I've never played it. I've always wanted to, though.
I've never really gotten to it either. I do have some of the second edition books, but never actually got into it. I got one box set laying somewhere. I can't see it on the shelf at the moment. Whatever. Chad, you had some conventions you wanted to plug, right?
Yeah, two of which I think are really going to be good if you're up in the area around Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, or Milwaukee. Right now, you can go ahead and see that for June 19th through the 22nd is the Nexus Game Fair in Milwaukee. And that one, the event registration, the event guide is already up, so you can already see what's out there and get ready and you can register. And you can also see they're going to have some really great special guests, including Tim Kask, Frank Menser, Merle Rasmussen, and many, many more. And then you can also, I'd like to mention that November 7th through the 9th is Gamehole Con, And that one is going to feature Ed Greenwood, creator of Elminster and The Forgotten Realms, as well as Doug Niles, Ernie Gygax, Jelly Blackburn. And for that one, they are now accepting event registration. So there you go. Those are two, and that one's in Madison, Wisconsin. So those are two great conventions I think you should check out.
One more convention, one more old school convention to plug. That's Oswarp. That's going to be in the New York, New Jersey area, July 4th to the 5th of this year. Signups are starting up now. Just Google Oswarp. We'll put a link in there for that. If you're not looking at our show notes, you can just kind of Google it and you'll find it. It's pretty easy. Nick, you had something as well?
Yeah, I just like to talk about two other conventions coming up here locally in Ohio that you might look forward to going to. Obviously, Origins Game Fair, June 11th to the 15th. And a couple of weeks ago, they did release online the events Excel spreadsheet. So you can head on over to the Origins website, originsgamefair.com, and you can download that and pick from all different events, card games, role-playing, board games, you name it, miniature warfare, you got it. And the Origins author guest of honor is Tracy Hickman this year.
Yay!
So Tracy's going to be there. That'll be really, really cool. And, yeah, it's going to be a really fun con. Some great obviously, sponsored by Mayfair every year, Rio Grande Games, Steve Jackson, Upper Deck, Reaper, Kenzer and Company. Mm-hmm. And Geek Chic is now a sponsor of them. They've grown quite a bit over the past few years, Geek Chic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have their own room at Origins, don't they?
Mm-hmm. They sure do. And in fact, I think it was last year, we were trying to get into their Geek Chic room over at the Hyatt area where there's the big bar on 2, and down the way they had this whole area of all their Geek Chic tables. And you could rent time to play on one of their tables.
Wasn't that my game that we were trying to get?
I think it was, wasn't it? We were trying to get to one of those tables. We couldn't get to it.
We couldn't get one because they filled up so fast.
Oh, my God. It was
very
crazy.
popular.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully I'm going to try that again this year. So, hats off to Geek Chic being a sponsor of Origins. And I guess the theme this year is monsters. So last year they did superheroes. This year is monsters. So expect a lot of monster cosplay going on there.
Not to be confused with Munsters.
Not Munster. You could go as Herman
Munster cosplay there.
Yes, you could though. You could go let's see if you can go as Thing. That would be awesome.
Well, Thing is actually Adam's family.
Yeah,
Adam's family. Sorry.
You could go with Adam's family too. That's
you could go as Herman. Herman Munster.
There you go. And then, so that's Origins, and then October here in Hudson, Ohio, is Con on the Cob, and that is going on in October. That is 16th through the 19th in Hudson, Ohio, and their special guests, we got artist guest of honor Fred Fields, who did cover illustrations for TSR and Wizards of the Coast. Larry Elmore, honored guest artist. He goes every year now, I think since the beginning. And Jolly Blackburn is going to be media guest of honor. So that'll be very cool. I'm going to have to make the excuse and go there now since Jolly's going to be up in my neck of the woods.
Very cool. Yeah, Con on the Cob's another really fun convention.
Yeah.
I went one year and had a blast.
I'm absolutely going to make the time available for myself to go that year, go this year. So,
all right. Well, since we're plugging conventions, Gen Con. Oh, let's not forget about that one.
Yes,
the big one is coming up in August. Obviously, if you're not signed up for that or don't know about it, kind of too late to sign up for that. I think at least for a good game at this point. I don't know, Matt.
Event schedule signups haven't started, has it?
But what about hotel?
You wanted to get that like at January 1st.
You wanted to get that September 1st.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah.
But with Gen Con, you could still get hotels if you're willing to walk a few blocks. Everyone wants that connected hotel where they don't have to see sunlight for 5 days.
That's me.
You know, the last time we went to Gen Con, Colin, for the DGS, we had the owner's suite at the Canterbury.
Ooh, nice.
Swanky.
Yeah, we had it had 2 floors and one of those little twisty staircases.
Ah. Did it have the secret like panel where you hit the button and like a bar comes around and all that jazz?
If it did, it was secret.
There you go.
I remember the first year we went there when RFI was there the first year, 2010, and I had a hotel that was a mile away. Jason had the Omni, I believe it was.
I was at the Omni that year too.
And he said that they ran out of rooms and they wound up giving him the master suite with a balcony. He's like, what am I going to do on a balcony? I'm here to play games. He had a balcony he could sit out. He said he sat out there and had breakfast one morning just so he could use it.
Yeah, I remember that. He told me about that. He said he would go out there in the mornings and have his coffee and look out over the city. I was like, oh, that must be nice.
Yeah. That sounds actually kind of worth it to me. I mean,
yeah.
Might as well. He got it upgraded for free, so hey, why not?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
But I agree. The Westin, I stayed at 1 year also. That was the best. You just walk down the escalator, boom, there's the convention. But
nice.
Matt, you told me they moved it now, right?
Actually, the Westin is still the best shot of going. It's just that instead of when you go down the escalators, you would turn right to go to the exhibit hall. Now you just go straight.
Oh, that's even better.
That's even better.
Right. It's actually, right now, probably the closest is the Crown Plaza because you cross the street, you go through the front doors, you're at the exhibit hall.
Do they still have the 10-foot pit trap still there?
I haven't seen the 10-foot pit trap, but I've probably successfully dodged it.
Oh, excellent.
I've never seen it. I've dodged it myself, apparently.
Did they ever get all the construction finished out there?
Yes. The construction is done. Most of that was being done for the Super Bowl. And however, this year the Canterbury is closed because they are remodeling it. And they're doing a massive upgrade because for those that haven't been in the Canterbury, their hallways are maybe wide enough for one person, maybe.
Yeah, it had a certain ambiance to it. It was a great place to play Call of Cthulhu.
Oh yes, if you wanted to live in a hotel from the 1920s, the Canterbury was your place.
Nice.
The rooms were the size of a small studio in New York.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I stayed the year before we stayed in the President's Suite. I stayed in a regular room. It was quite small.
Right. There's enough room for your bed, a wardrobe, and a slight path in between the wardrobe and bed. Because I stayed there 1 year too.
You're gaming. You don't need to be in your room.
But
it's there to put your stuff. It's there to put your
But
stuff.
there's not even that much room to put your stuff. It's so small.
Wow.
Well,
College dorm seems like an upgrade when it comes to space.
Put your stuff in the dresser, Matt. There's your answer.
And then in the 1 year I stayed there, I woke up, I had no water. All the water from my floor was out.
So you blended in with the rest of the gamers the rest of the
Yeah,
day.
they're like, well, we have other rooms open on another floor if you need to go take a shower. I'm like, okay. What if I need to go to the bathroom?
Suddenly I'm in a European hostel.
Exactly.
I gotta share the
I'm in a
showers.
European hostel that's costing me like $1,000 for 4 days.
Nice.
And it was also, if I remember, like right next to the motorcycle rally.
Yeah, it was right along that path.
Bikers and gamers. What could possibly
What a mix!
go wrong?
Well, the first year of the MotoGP,
Just add alcohol and watch the fun.
I was actually at the Homewood Suites, which is right in front of where they were parking all their motorcycles.
So you heard this all night.
I was on the third floor. My windows were rattling. There were 7 officers in the hotel lobby. They were checking names as you walked in to make sure you were actually staying there. I had a view of the street from my room.
Actually, they were checking who was on the 100 most wanted list of the FBI, but they didn't tell you that.
Yeah. I could look out upon all the chaos, and I saw, someone get hit by a motorcycle, people vomiting in the street. It was fun times. The only problem is I was on the other side of the block from where the convention center was, so I had to cross that street, which they blocked that street off just for the motorcycles, and I was pretty much told, cross at your own risk.
Nice. Then the Mongols and the RPGA had a throwdown.
Yes. The Mongolians came to thrash their city walls.
It was the Hells Angels. Get it right.
Yeah, the outlaws.
They both live in yurts. What's the difference?
It wouldn't really matter. I mean, it would have been a quick fight to be, no matter which outlaw gang it was.
So. They would have just took out their swords and they would have just got them.
That's right.
The one group's throwing beanbags at them. Magic missile,
lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
That's where you actually have to call in the anachronistic Mongols on horseback.
Oh, man. Okay.
Oh, wow. Meanwhile,
back at the... Oh, never mind. Little Ted Knight Halls of Justice for you.
Yes, meanwhile, at the Halls of Justice.
Yeah. Could he sound more annoyed doing that? I mean, come on. Anyway, so that's that, and let's head into our first segment.
Typical. Of all the evil creatures in the world, I had to find one with table manners.
What, are you kidding me? I spent years cultivating the worst table manners on the planet.
Table manners.
Okay, here we are in Tables Manners, and we're gonna. I think we did one of these types of books before by Fitz, Brian Fitzpatrick, and we're gonna cover one of the big books, and this one's the big book of Little Spaces, Haunts. Basically, it's like about like a 19 or 20 page PDF on how to spice up an area, a room, hallway, whatever it is, to kind of give it a creepy, haunted kind of feel to it. And it's a very cool book.
Yeah, you can use it for anything. Any type of game. It's system neutral, so you can use it for Ravenloft Adventures, or if you were playing Shadowrun, anything. It works well.
Yeah, this would work wonderfully for Chill, Call of Cthulhu.
Chill, Call of Cthulhu, you name it. Any place where you're probably going to run into some undead, some creepiness, some weirdness. This is a cool little big book. I guess you might want to call it. So, I guess what you do with the book, I guess the easiest way to explain it is you have your senses, your hearing, touch, taste, sight, and smell, and then you roll off to see which one is going to get the effect, I suppose, and the descriptive element, you're going to find out what that might be on a table, and then something specific about what's happening with that sense, what you're sensing from that item or area or whatever that may be. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And you could come up with some really interesting results. Some pretty cool results.
Yeah, in fact, what I love about it is because Nick, I know you and I both made some of our own using this book. We made some of our own rooms, but I love the fact you get these results that at first you think are just completely disjointed, but then as you put them together, you end up with these really cool rooms that you never would have thought of on your own, but they just work. I mean,
right.
It's the disjointedness of the elements that make them so creepy.
Yeah, and it's not even just rooms. It could be objects. It could be an area. It could be just a hallway. So, yeah, it goes even just beyond the rooms. And there's all these different things so many different combinations that you could come up with. Either I'm sure you can cherry pick things, but it's so much more fun to roll because, we have dice, we're gamers, and by God, we're going to use them. So.
Right. And like you said, if you didn't want to use the dice, I mean, it's neat even from, because you're going to see things you may not have thought of. So if you didn't want to use the dice, it's still very valuable because you may see someone and be like, wow, that's cool. Okay, I want to use that. I wouldn't have thought of it on my own, but now I want to use it. So either way, it's going to be very valuable to creating your adventures.
Right. And one of the things that I like about it is it, even though when I was going through this, it seemed kind of chaotic and disjointed, but I'm like, yeah, you know what? That actually kind of adds to the horror creepiness of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So, because it's so weird, out of place, chaotic. So, I guess what I did is I did the first table. I rolled a D8 for which sense. Mm-hmm. And, you have your standard sight, hearing, smell, touch, taste, and it's a D8 roll, but you have chances you can roll again, roll twice, or roll 3 times. So this stuff could stack up on you. So my first one, I rolled for hearing. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my sense that's going to be affected. Then I went to I guess what would be the descriptive element. I just went right down the PDF and I went to ghostly effects.
So the second one, you roll a D20.
Yep. And this one was toys. So something with hearing and toys.
Okay, so we start to form this creepy toy, maybe making a noise in the room as you creep to the room.
And then I went to the actual hearing chart, which is, I believe, on page 13 of it, and I did a D100 roll. So, okay, what am I hearing about these toys? And the roll came up solemn. So something solemn. So you see, there's these toys. You're hearing something, but it's a solemn sort of sound. Okay, so like now you go with it. What's this? How do you tie all that together?
How would you tie that together, Nick?
I was thinking about that. I was thinking maybe like it was maybe just some sort of room,
mm-hmm.
like maybe an abandoned house, maybe a child's room, and you open this box like a toy chest.
Yeah.
Okay. And you see all these toys, like, maybe a toy soldier, a teddy bear, maybe a toy boat, but they're all put in there perfectly placed, nothing stacked on each other. They're all perfectly stacked. And as you're listening, you hear somewhere in the background this solemn sort of maybe a moan or groan. So that's how I kind of put it together.
You can do that whole thing of you creep into the room and you see all these weird looking burnt dolls all across the room. Look like someone was collecting them but burned in a fire. And then you hear the very sad song in the background of 1, 2, Freddy. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, God. No!
Kind of works if you think about it. But,
it does kind of work. See? That's one of the things when you get all these together.
Yeah.
It's like your imagination, like in a couple seconds, is starting to work. So, like something with that for you, Matt, how would that work? Hearing the ghostly effects as toys, but solemn. How would you work that together?
Whenever I think of toys, I always, my mind, and especially in a creepy environment, I always go to like the creepy doll with the big eyes staring at you, and like tops. For whatever reason, when I think creepy, I think top, because no child plays with a top now. So it's like a throwback to like an older time, having like the porcelain doll with like a top next to it, and then and then you just hear this little like, oh, like maybe it's coming from the doll, maybe it's not.
Or maybe when you spin the top, it makes this kind of solemn.
Right. It's almost like I'm hearing like maybe like a monk chant, like the Gregorian chants.
When you spin the top,
it's like,
ooh, that's creepy. I just got chills.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So then it becomes, where is this? Why does this top make this chanting sound? And why is this doll staring at you no matter where you stand?
Yeah. What about you, Chad? What do you think you could do with that?
I was thinking about that. What if your character walks into a room, and it's obviously a child's room, and what they see are, it used to be, obviously it was a girl's room, and there are dolls in the room, but there's also a music box, and the music box is open, and it's playing a song, but it's a funeral dirge.
Oh, wow.
And as it starts to play this solemn funeral dirge, they turn and they see that there are tears coming down the doll's eyes.
Oh man, you just creeped me out. That's good. Oh,
that would be it,
oh my gosh.
That would be how I would. But again, I never thought of that until you literally just mentioned those elements.
And that's one of the great things about this big book, this little big book. It's 19 pages of great imagination kickoff right there.
Yeah,
right.
So, man, that's
here's the
great
thing
stuff.
too. It doesn't have to be that everything you roll is centralized in one object. They're saying it's centralized within one room. Right. So the solemn sound doesn't have to come from the toy itself. So in my case, I said, okay, well, there are dolls in here, so that's a toy. And obviously the music box is a toy too.
Sure.
And don't, you shouldn't feel like with this book you have to confine yourself to only what you roll. In the case of what I rolled, I felt free to add things to it.
Sure.
Because what you're doing is you're rolling to build your foundation.
Right. This is to kick off your imagination.
Exactly. And then once you have your foundation, feel free at that point to grab other things or you just make up something else along with what you have. Because this is not the end all of what you're creating for this room. This is your starting point. This is getting you going. So, what your elements, these are various elements of the room itself that all tie together. To create the greater effect.
Okay. So I know you did one.
Yeah, I did
of
one.
A room. So what did you do?
Okay. I rolled and I got sensory touch.
Okay.
Plus ghostly. And in this one, it was animal. And then it came down to, I think it was on the 100-sider, I think, where I got clammy.
Ooh.
And then ghostly, foggy effects also, because I rolled a one of those roll twice. So
I got one of those too.
Yeah, and they do start to stack up a little bit.
Yeah, they can.
So then I just put it into a little short descriptor for a room after I thought about it for a minute. And it says, okay, passing through the diaphanous veil of fog, you make your way out across an old pier. Its slick, rotting timbers dull your footsteps to muted thuds. Further out, you can hear the breakers crashing against an ancient stone wharf. Once a busy quay, but deserted now by all but the crabs. You have not gone more than perhaps 10 feet when you first feel a light touch. Brush your leg. Though it's so fleeting and so light that perhaps it's only a product of your imagination. However, it is quickly followed by a second. This time it is the caress of a hand at your neck. Its touch chill and clammy and accompanied by the briny smell of the sea's dark depths.
Oh, now how come I'm thinking of Innsmouth?
Exactly.
I'm thinking of deep ones.
Yeah. And so again, you're taking a few of the things that you rolled and you're adding a few more things that you think go along with it. And, like touch, when I first got touch, and, an animal, my first thought was touch. That's an odd sensory. How am I going to add that into a room's description? And then I got fog and I thought, oh, what if something touched them while they're in the fog and they can't see it? And then I started to think, and you know what? I didn't. I tried to write some of these things on top of it that I'd rolled, but I forgot to write the briny, I think briny was a smell too that I'd gotten or something like that. And so anyway, or maybe I just chose it on my own, but that's how I decided to make it out on an old pier, and so then I started thinking, because see, these things get you thinking. And when you start to think about that, you start to think, it was probably Clammy that made me think about it, but then you start to think about old pier. Okay, rotting wood. Okay,
Sure.
Rotting wood is like, what does it sound like when you walk over rotting wood? It's kind of soft, right? I mean,
Yeah. It's kind of soft, maybe a squishy sound to it. If
almost,
it's wet.
yeah. It kind of dulls your footsteps, and
Mm-hmm.
you're walking through what mist and fog rises up off the sea, and you would hear out in the, you'd hear the breakers coming in out there, and it would just have this whole, briny, it makes you kind of think of death by drowning,
Sure.
Crabs, wooded crabs, they eat the bodies of drowned sailors,
Yeah.
and so that's how that all. So I just tried to come up with something that tied everything together to come up with an overall feel.
That's really good. I don't know if I could come up with anything that topped that.
No. I mean, but anybody, though, you can tie these things and you just think about it, I mean, like, and it's one of those, one thing leads you to another thing.
Right.
And what is this? Well, what does this make me think of? Or what does that make me think of? And then once you have it, and, I actually started to think, because I like to write, I enjoy writing, and sometimes I get writer's block. And I actually thought, this book could actually be better than just for gaming. If I get writer's block, I'm going to go to this book.
Wow. I never thought of that. That's actually, wow. That's pretty good.
Right. Yeah. This book could be used as a creative writing exercise. You roll in the charts. There's your writing prompt. Go.
Oh my gosh. Educational application right there with the English.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Nick,
Oh
you
my
did.
gosh.
Did you do any others?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I got one. Like you said, how some of these things can stack on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of mine I rolled, and it was for two senses, touch and taste.
Hit us with it.
So touch and taste. The descriptive element, I went to the very next one after ghostly effects. I went to scary basements, and I rolled storage. So something in storage, touch and taste, and the specific sense description, cottony and syrupy.
Huh, now how do you tie those together?
Yeah, that's a weird one. Cottony and syrupy, it's touch and taste, and the scary basement thing, storage. What I was thinking, okay, maybe it's in a warehouse, and it's compartmentalized like many warehouses and several storage facilities. Okay. And let's say it's some sort of weird Call of Cthulhu adventure. Some sort of weird call. That's kind of redundant. But Call of Cthulhu adventure, and you're looking for some information about something in this that led you to this warehouse. And you go to one of these storage areas, and you find in some boxes, so inside these boxes there are some plastic, well, I guess jars. They're white. They're plastic containers. And you open up one of the containers, and there's this kind of cottony looking material. But it doesn't look quite, it looks really puffy, more puffy than cotton. And you smell and taste it, and it has a syrupy kind of very sweet taste to it, almost like cotton candy. So there's all these containers of cotton candy in this storage facility. I don't know.
You could do something.
Why would they? Or is it some other? It tastes like
something
a weird
else.
cotton candy, or is it something else? Maybe something tied into the adventure. That maybe it's some sort of drug, but it takes the form of cotton candy, and they're giving it to kids. And you're trying to crack the case on this one. And it has some weird psychedelic effects. And they start to see things which aren't there, or are they there?
We all float down here.
Yes.
That's a quote from It.
Oh my God! Now I'm thinking of Pennywise. Maybe it's some sort of weird clown monster. He gives this cotton candy to these kids.
Yes.
It floats. It floats.
Gosh. Okay.
Good
See
stuff.
now, yeah, that's good. So maybe this weird cottony syrupy substance is tied into the adventure, like some sort of weird hallucinogenic drug.
Ah.
You know,
What if
Tindalos? I don't know.
what if you combined them and say in a more, you could say we wanted to put it in more of a D&D type setting, and we could say, okay, you enter, you find this tunnel that seems to slope downwards. It's fairly narrow. It looks to be about maybe roughly 4 feet in diameter. Moving down it, you notice the feel. It's dark, but the feel of the tunnel has a very cottony feel almost along the edges.
Almost like cobwebs in a way.
Yeah, very. Has a cottony texture, and as you reach what you think may be the bottom, you can't help but notice that your hands, touching the edges, leaves your hands coated in a syrupy stickiness.
Ooh.
Ah.
Oh, okay.
That's
good. That's good.
And now the people are starting to wonder,
where have we gotten ourselves into?
Or maybe
going down the gullet of some monster.
Yeah. Or maybe you find yourself entangled within a mass of cottony material, this cottony mass. And as you're struggling to free yourself, a syrupy substance, you can feel a syrupy, liquid dripping down upon you from above.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's like some sort of trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you go down there and maybe you fall into a room like full of this cottony syrupy material and you can't break free.
Maybe the syrupy stuff is some sort of saliva of something above you.
It's the digestive juices.
Could be.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What do you think, Matt? What do you think, Vince?
Well, what I was thinking when I heard warehouse, I started seeing all these barrels, just like maybe like an old wine vault, bottom of a tavern where they keep the barrels of ale. And as you're going down and you're walking through it, one of the barrels is leaking and it's flowing out. It's like a syrupy. It looks syrupy and it's flowing, but when you touch it, it's actually granular. It's got that cottony feel to it.
Weird. Even
though it looks like it's syrup. And when you put it to your mouth, it's sweet to taste. So.
And then that's where you say save versus poison. Please.
Exactly.
The sweet smell of the cotton candy lures you into the room. As you dip your finger into it, it looks gooey, smells good, but tastes bitter when you touch it with your tongue.
Oh, there's your save.
Yeah.
Save versus poison, sucker. Okay.
That's right.
Yes. Little did you know that the little cottony things you were feeling in the syrup were actually little parasites that have infested all these barrels.
Oh, man. Oh, wow, that's good.
Just a spoonful of sugar helps the poison go down.
There you go.
Yes, as you hear some evil children skipping in the room and laughing as they run out the door.
We're running out with that evil-looking clown.
It's nice and warm in
Ugh.
here.
Oh, nice.
Undead Mary Poppins walks out of the room.
Yeah. I'll give you one more that I did. I did 2 of these. So the other one I did here now was, okay, this is an example again where at first I kind of thought, well, this is an odd one because 2 of these traits seem to be at odds with one another. But a sensory I got was hearing, and so I rolled on the hearing chart to see what was heard, and it was exhale. Okay. So then I also had another sense. So I rolled on that. It was smell, and this was another one. This was one where I rolled, and first I got 2, and then it said roll again, and this one actually I got to roll 3 times.
Wow.
On the sensory table. So I got hearing, and then I got 2 smells. So I got exhale, smell, and smell, and they were hearing, smell, and smell, and it was in this order: exhale, putrid, and sweet. And then I also got bugs and garden from, I think, ghostly effects and limitations. So okay, so we have exhale, putrid, sweet, bugs, and garden. So then what I did, and granite. I think I may have chosen granite, but anyway. So then it basically reads like this. Okay, it's a room description. So standing within the garden, you can see that at one time this would have been a marvelous testimony to the creativity of man, a garden masterfully sculpted to control nature's raw beauty. Now the sculpted trees sag, barren of leaf, and the flowers have long since wilted back into the ground. The birds, which once took their fill upon the nectar of the sweet fruit, have been replaced by large black beetles feeding upon the putrid remains of things no longer identifiable. Where once the garden was filled with the sweet smells of fruit, there is now only the smell of rot. And in the center, there is a great slab of granite which sits embedded into the soft earth, perhaps having once served as a monument to the garden's creator. Kneeling down, you can see runes inscribed upon the stone, though they are now much disfigured by age and what appears to be the acts of a more sentient force. From the other side of the slab, you hear a sharp exhale.
Ooh.
And that's it. But, it's enough to have the party suddenly, almost jump back, because it's almost Lovecraft. I almost kind of look to Lovecraft for the manner, because he has a style.
He does.
And he loved to have that quick kind of gotcha at the end of his stuff. Like I love the story he wrote, which I can't think of the name of it. You might know it offhand, Nick, but it's the one where Randolph Carter goes to it's one of the early Randolph Carter ones where he actually goes tomb robbing.
Oh,
with
gosh.
his
Which
friend.
one is that?
I think it was a statement of Randolph Carter.
I think it was Statement of Randolph Carter. Yeah.
Right. And he's got like a two-way radio system going on, and he's up above while his mentor is down in this tomb, and they're talking to each other, and somehow he loses contact with the guy. And he keeps saying, are you there? Are you there? And suddenly a different voice answers him back and says, something like, Chumley is dead, you fool. And then he cuts off.
Yes.
And that's it. And that's and I always remember that always shook me when I was young and I read that, because what he's doing is he's saying, there's something else down there.
Yeah.
And Chumley is dead, you fool.
So exhale from the tomb.
Yeah, so obviously on the other side of this basically flat rock, it's telling the characters several things. It's more than a rock. It's obviously a door of some sort, and it's telling them that perhaps it's a grave, and it's telling them that perhaps whatever is behind there is still alive, and it makes them start to wonder, well, what tried to disfigure the marks on the grave? Because it says it's not just time that has partially erased these marks; something else has too. Right. And why? So now should they try to let this thing out? Is it good? Is it bad? They don't know. So you're trying to throw a lot of things at the characters at once to make them think. So hopefully that room description would do it. Yeah. But again, I wouldn't have thought of putting those elements together if I hadn't first rolled them up using this chart.
Yeah, like I said, it's a great jump off point for your imagination. It really gets things going. And some of these could seem rather simple too, but you could put them in a way to where they could be just a little more complex. Like this other one I rolled up. I rolled up one, the sense is hearing, in the descriptive element, I went right down again. I went to abandoned places, and this time a burial, maybe like a burial mound or something like that. And the sense description for the hearing is a boom. So a loud boom. So you got sense hearing, the abandoned places burial, and boom. So what I was thinking, just to kind of kick it off, and we'll kind of go around the table here and see what else everybody goes into. Maybe it's let's tie this into World of Greyhawk. Let's say their adventuring party is going off to the north of the city of Greyhawk to the Cairn Hills. And they go into one of these old abandoned cairns of long dead kings and tribal leaders. And they go into one of these burial mounds, these tombs. And as they open it up and they go inside, the door crashes down behind them with a loud boom. And you can keep it as simple as that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So let's go around the table.
All right. I'll start then, I guess. And then we'll go to Matt, and then we'll end up with Chad.
Sure.
So you said it was hearing and a loud boom, as in the... Go ahead.
And the abandoned places was a burial place, maybe like a burial mound or
a
mausoleum or something like that.
As you could do something like, as you finally make your way into the room, peeling back the door that was there for centuries, holding back the stench. Well, no, there's no smell, but you can add it in as you want.
Sure.
The stench of maybe decay and of rotting meat. You step into the room and you light your torch. As you light your torch, you see two large, horrifying statues there that just seem to be moving, but they just fall to the ground with a big, loud thud. And there's a couple mummies ready to attack you.
Oh man, that's good. All right, Matt, run with it, buddy.
Okay. The party is traveling through the forest, and as it progresses, the plant life seems to be older, a little more decrepit, more decay. The greenery is wilting, and you start to get this overwhelming just feeling of life being sucked out of this area. And they come upon a clearing. It's actually a hill, and the party goes to the top of the hill to get a better idea of their surroundings. And as they walk up, it's a rather smooth hill. It's almost like a dome. And as they walk to the top of it, there's a loud, and get to its peak, there's a loud crash, and they collapse into the hill. They find themselves inside a burial mound.
Wow, there you go. Okay, that's cool.
Filled with ET Oh, never mind.
Filled with ET cartridges.
Phone home. Phone home.
We found them, guys. The adventure's over.
All right, Chad, what do you got?
All right, let's see here. Okay. Having finally manhandled the large block of marble away from the tomb's roughly hewn entrance, you turn your head as a gust of putrid tomb gas rushes past. Then, descending the dusty steps of the mausoleum, you make your way down 2 flights that turn back upon one another until finally reaching the bottom landing. As you light a sputtering torch set within an iron sconce, you are just about to step forward towards a rune-covered sarcophagus. When from up above, you hear a low rumble as of something heavy being moved, and followed by a loud boom as what can only be the marble stone is rolled back into place. quick with a force applied with more force applied than that which could be given by man.
Ooh.
And the torches sputter and give out, leaving you back in the darkness.
Well, luckily, I'm with Indiana Jones. We can get through the wall with all those snakes coming through.
And you know what? By the way, I just realized I never gave you guys opportunities to come up with stuff with the elements that I chose, which I apologize for.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was just curious. What do you guys think you would do with some of the ones I did?
Well, let's go back over real quick.
Yeah, the last one that
I'll
you
just
did.
throw them at you real quick. How about the last one? Hearing excel, smell putrid, smell sweet, bugs in garden.
Bugs. Yeah, I've got to think about that one for a few minutes here.
Bugs in garden, exhale, putrid. I'm thinking maybe. I'm for some reason, I'm thinking almost like a jungle landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the party has come across an abandoned, almost something like if you're familiar with the module Hidden Shrine of Tomoe-chan, something very Aztec or Mesoamerican-like in structure. Either it's like maybe an abandoned temple or something like that. And the vines are growing all over this thing, and they're giving off this putrid stench of almost like death that are on what is you believe is this one cursed temple from a long forgotten civilization that you're sent to find the great MacGuffin. So, and you find the entrance, and as you open the entrance, it's as if the exhale of 1,000 years of dead corpses waft across your body. Yeah, okay.
I like that because I like the idea, I think, with a jungle setting, because when it says garden, you don't have to necessarily take things literal.
Right.
You could say garden, okay, floral, jungle, forest, okay. It doesn't have to be sculpted garden per se. It could be wild, and sweet and putrid.
And the bugs that are crawling all over this temple are just not quite right. They're not your normal beetles or centipedes. There's something distorted, strange, maybe even sinister about them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
I almost forgot the bugs.
What about you, Vince?
I was thinking about that. I was thinking maybe you're in this kind of creepy, I don't know, house. I want to say house.
Okay.
House here. You're down the hallway. You come to this door, and there's some weird smell coming from it. It's kind of like an outside smell, like you're in the forest. Maybe could be a jungle smell. I'm going to go with forest. Okay. You open the door, and you see all these overgrown plants in there, and these vines and various overgrown plants. I'm going to go with, yeah, that works. Overgrown plants. You walk in the room, you hear some crunching noises, and you're like, what's that? It's very dark in the room. You light your torch, and you start smelling something very foul, and then you hear this as it blows across your torch and your face, and then this weird smell comes out as you hear a clicking sound in the background. As you look up at the ceiling, you see this giant beetle bug come flying down onto you.
Ooh. Oh, okay. There's your bugs. I got it. Oh, yeah. That's a good way. Use that to start off an encounter. I like that.
You can use the waft as maybe the bug kind of letting out its scent to mark you or something.
Ooh, yeah. Even better. Yeah. So I like to use the bugs as to create a monster encounter. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Very nice. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, Matt.
Well, what I'm seeing is the party's traveling along, and they come across this garden. It's perfectly manicured. The flowers are in full bloom. It's a sweet smell. It's just a thing of beauty.
Oh,
They have the little ladybugs crawling on.
Oh, I like ladybugs.
Bugs. Yeah. And it's just this pristine
Butterflies.
garden.
oh.
And then they hear this loud, and this putrid stench just overtakes the garden, wiltering every flower and plant in it to instant death.
Nick, what'd you
Ooh.
What if they the party comes upon this beatific scene like you're kind of describing that, and there's this sweet smell, and I'm kind of actually now I'm taking kind of elements of all your guys' situations, right? Say they're in this they've traveled through this dense jungle region, right? And they come upon these ruins of a garden, and it's beautiful though. It's like this clearing, right? And there's this sweet smell in the air, and it's just, it fills them with this longing desire to be within, to rest within this area. And this is just, this would be just a wonderful place to just sit and lay down and fall to sleep and just stay forever. And then somebody, then you turn to the party and say, everybody give me a roll, wisdom check. And if they make it, you kind of pull them to the side, you say, you hear a clicking sound. And you start to notice that there's a somewhat, beyond the sweet smell, you're starting to smell more of a putrid smell, coming off from, say, a corner, maybe behind a large stone or something. And they look and you say, there's all these bones.
Ooh.
And then they go, and then you say, okay, you look up and you see the big beetle coming down the side of one of the trees.
Ooh.
Hey, there you go. Ooh.
So what they've done is, it's lures people in with this sweet smell and beatific scene, garden, but it's actually, there's the putrid smell of its past meals, of this giant bug.
Mm-hmm.
So really what I did there was take their elements, but your guys' stories, and I just combined them all.
That's good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what do we give this for rating wise? Using, I guess we use what are we using? Swords, right?
Swords.
Out of 5. Nick.
Oh my gosh. I have to say I'd have to give it 5 swords.
5 swords. Got it.
Just the utility of it is amazing. And we've already touched on it. Not even just used for gaming purposes. This could be used educational purposes for writing, for creative writing, or if you're a writer that's stuck, this is a great jump off point for some of those things. So, absolutely. And it's so multi-faceted, not just for one particular game system. So I got to give it 5 out of 5 swords.
Okay, Chad.
I give it 5 because exactly for the same reason that Nick said. It goes beyond just gaming. It's useful in many different areas of creativity. It's invaluable for creating games, creating on the spot situations that look like. I mean, you could create something quickly with this that will have your players thinking that you planned this out way ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And then when the game's done, you can use it for other hobbies that you have that involve creative writing. It's just neat, and I like it. It's fun to do, and it's just fun to do.
Yeah.
To pull stuff up. So I got to give it 5.
All right.
I'd love to see him do this for not just scary stuff, but just it'd be fun to do this for futuristic stuff, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Matt.
Yep. I have to go with 5 as well. I mean, this is just a wealth of creativity waiting to be pulled out of you.
Yeah.
And plus, I like the layout of it. It's everything. All the chart is self-contained on one page. You're not doing a lot of excess flipping for Just if, say, you're rolling Horde Hallways, it's all on one page. It even has some examples and some art. So if you're a little stuck on how to use, like, the table, like, oh, you have these things, there's examples of this is how the author would use, like, if you had, like, a sight, sky disturbed. As you enter the foreboding tree line, you turn behind you only to watch the sky suddenly darken with a thunderstorm. Just little descriptive blurbs like that. It's just a great product, and it's $3.99 on DriveThruRPG, so...
It's a bargain.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're definitely going to get your money's worth out of it.
You're getting best bang for your buck out of this. I even thought of another application to use this. This in itself could be used as a party game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I just thought of that. I'm like, sort of like, like
Fiasco.
Gestures, Fiasco, some of those other games. You're given these elements, and maybe in 20 words or less, you write up what all these elements, how they are tied together. And whoever comes up with the best little 20 words or less thing with all these elements, they win a round. So there you go.
That'd be very cool.
So you could use this as a party game.
Very much so. And you know what? At the end of the day, what I hope happens if people start using this is that, you do it enough using this book. I think in the end, you can't help but become better as an adventure writer. Even when you're not using it, you're going to walk away after a certain point simply writing better room descriptions.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. Fitz comes through yet again with a wonderful product.
Yes.
Right to DriveThruRPG, pick this up. There's also a video, a 12-minute video where he explains and goes through the book with different ways to use this book.
Oh, no kidding. On YouTube?
It's a YouTube video he posted right on the DriveThruRPG link, which Matt put in the notes for everybody.
Oh, excellent.
And you can purchase it and watch the video, and he explains how to use it in detail and what he has some examples. It's perfect to use. Pick it up now. No, not right now, but after you know what?
Fitz has figured out a great way to market this product. A how-to video. Wow.
Yeah. Pause this podcast, go purchase it, and come back.
There you go.
We'll wait.
We'll wait, yes. All right, so everyone gives it a 5. It's wonderful. 5 out of 5 swords for the entire podcast. Go pick it up. And let's head into our last segment.
Are you saying that I put an abnormal brain into a 7.5-foot long gorilla?
Creature Feature Theater.
And now we go into the creature feature, and we're going to talk about a creature that you could actually fit into some of the settings we described earlier with the book.
Just what I was thinking.
Yes. For this, it's a slime creature, but it's not the typical, like, green slime or the slimes you're used to coming across.
Is it syrupy and cottony?
No, but it could potentially be used to make a good salad dressing. For this is the olive slime.
Yes, particularly the Greek olive slime.
Yes.
As opposed to the balsamic olive slime.
Or olive oil.
Yes. This slime is along the lines of your other slimes. It's a strain of the green slime. But this prefers its subterranean areas and feeds on animals, vegetables, and metallic substances. This slime, however, though, when you come in contact with it, it has a numbing poison. So you must roll save versus poison to even notice it attached to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't notice it, there's only a 50% chance the other members of your party will notice. But it's one roll for the entire party, not individually.
Oh,
wow.
And you get no adjustments at all outside of any magical bonuses. Then what happens is this stuff spreads itself over the body area that it was exposed to, and sends its little parasitic tendrils inside to feed off the fluids of the host.
Lovely.
Yes, it likes attaching to the spinal area. And then it begins to take over the mind of its host. It becomes the main point of the host then is to make sure the slime lives.
Yep.
So its main concern is to feed, protect, and aid the growth. So after you've been infected with it and it starts taking over your body, you don't want it removed from you. It's your friend. It's your friend as it's slowly just eating away at you. If you don't double your amount of food intake, you start wasting away, losing 10% of your hit points a day.
Nice.
And then
Get to a cleric quick.
Yeah. And then after 7 to 12 days, the host will be turned into a vegetable creature.
The slime creature.
Yes. It morphs into the slime creature. And then, because your skin and muscles start to form a symbiotic attachment to the slime. And at that point, you become a slime creature.
Yeah.
And then it is just, you basically are just doomed to be a flora creature attacking adventurers and sucking the life out of them.
And I guess, and eventually at the end, what will happen at the olive slime, then once it breaks everything down, the slime creature, once it breaks down whatever was left, it becomes an olive slime. So that basically, it sounds like the slime creature is kind of like the intermediary of how the olive slime reproduces.
Right. It's the caterpillar for the butterfly, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
A slimy, olive-looking animal, intelligent, want to eat you caterpillar. But hey.
Fortunately, it's very rare. And its armor class is only 9. However, it can only be harmed by acid, freezing cold, fire, or cure disease. Magic powers which affect plants also work on it, so your druid would be kind of useful. However, other attacks, including spells, do not harm it.
So it would not be harmed by a magic missile?
Nope.
Lightning bolt?
Lightning bolt? Nope. It's acid, cold, fire, or cure disease.
So you nail it with a fireball.
Right. Including
acid arrow. Got it.
Yeah. However, though, by the time you're attacking it, it's probably attached to someone.
Nice.
So it becomes, you need a surgical fireball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, get the torch. We're going to burn it off of you. Don't squirm too much.
Yeah. This is worse than the green slime because this is very, very mobile once it attacks you.
Right.
This is the green slime on the move.
Yes, it is. I'm also envisioning, like, what if your party came across someone that was infected with this slime but didn't realize it?
Oh, man.
And then the slime starts jumping to the party as they sleep.
And this person's slowly transforming into this slime creature.
Right, and they think something's wrong with them, and they're like, we need to get them to help or whatever, and they're just being eaten to death by a parasite. They're just constantly like, I'm so hungry, I need more food, and they're just eating all of the rations of the party.
Yeah, this is one of those creatures I could see where because it takes so long for it to gestate, it's over several days.
Yeah.
Any party that has the ways and means to do so, or is close to a way of curing this thing or getting rid of it, I mean, would find a way rather quickly to do it. I would, as a DM, use this thing in an area where access to those things are going to be almost impossible.
Right. I mean,
this is going to be like remote places.
Yeah, because they're going to be in subterranean areas, and there's no civilization that if they know this olive slime is in existence, they're just going to burn it all.
Right.
Because it's just so nasty. And the last thing I could see, like, maybe someone bringing it back into town where they, like, maybe like a prospector or something goes out and he's in the caves, he's chipping away looking for gold, and he gets infected by this olive slime by himself and comes back to town with it.
Yeah, I was also even thinking of like almost like a Lost World kind of setting, you know?
Yeah.
The party's in like the land that time forgot.
Yeah.
You know, they're trudging through those jungles where dinosaurs and other strange creatures are about, and this olive slime creature attacks, and they're on an expedition where the remoteness of it is so much so that an attack from one of these creatures could be deadly for the whole party if they don't have the resources to get rid of it.
Right. I mean, I could also see maybe the party is sent out to find someone, and they've been infected by this slime. They've actually morphed into a slime creature.
So that would be kind of the reverse of it. You're trying to find the cure for it for somebody. That's the plot.
Right.
That's the actual adventure in itself.
Right. Before they actually become olive slime. So you kind of have like I'm infected with this, you know it. Cure me before I become a mindless slime.
Now, quick question. So I'm going to assume that a paladin would be immune to it.
It does not say because it's
not
paladins
are immune to disease.
This is not a disease.
Yeah, but cure disease would get rid of it, right?
Right.
That was the weird thing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because
we have to assume then that it is treated as a disease,
as a parasitic infection. But when it says that it's not harmed by magic power, only things that infect plants, other attacks, including spells, do not harm it.
Yeah, but I think he's saying that.
Yeah, if you treated it as a disease.
Resistance. Yeah, because cure disease works on it. So
right.
I would rule it, yes.
I'd rule it as a disease. I would say a paladin is immune to it.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I could see that. You treat it as like a parasitic disease, at which point, the paladin would be immune to it.
Right. Yeah. Now, the other thing I think would be interesting, and this is where I like the idea of what you guys are saying, and especially Nick, you were saying, you like the idea of this whole lost world. Obviously, this thing could be something, in some, far corner, remote, corner of the world, and a very primitive area of the world, and the party gets, maybe one of the members gets infected by it, and by the time they realize what's going on, they don't know how to get rid of it. Maybe there is no, because if there's a paladin in the party, I think paladins have don't they get to cure disease once a day or something like that?
I think so.
Okay, say the paladin's not in the party.
Say they don't have a paladin. Yeah.
Right. Say they don't have a paladin. Say their cleric is the one infested, and he can't. He can't do it. He's no longer in the right state of mind or whatever. So they go and they find this tribe, right? The Chocho.
Yeah.
We're the good Chocho. And so, they say, oh yeah, we know what this is. They know what it is, and they take him to their witch doctor, and he says, yeah, I can heal him, but you're going to have to he gives them this list of things that they have to go out into the jungle and collect, for him to cast this spell. So then they do that, and then they have a little adventure. They manage to get the components for this spell. They get it back to him. He lays the character out on this pyre, like this, on a bunch of sticks, right? And then he casts a spell, and the character blazes up in fire. Oh. And the party is like, oh my gosh, right? They don't know what to do, and what he's actually casting on the character, as he's assuring them, don't worry, he's fine, and they're watching their party member go up in flames.
As the shaman says, hey, it's all good.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. Burning away the infection. He's cast Fire Shield. And which to any outsider who didn't know the spell, and which would be pretty much anybody in my game at least who's not a magic user, and any magic user who doesn't have the spell,
right?
Is it's gonna look like he just lit the character on fire. And fire.
I get to see everybody going, "What the hell are you doing?"
He just
I'm curing him
on fire.
With the blessed fire. What?
Burning it away, and I would think Fire Shield would get rid of it because it's personal effect. It goes outwards, that would be, maybe it wouldn't. Maybe they would say the symbiotic because it's attached itself within, it's got its tendrils within the player or within the character. Maybe
within the player.
Within the
Yes,
player.
it takes over the player.
That's a whole nother problem.
Yes,
but I don't know. I would probably rule that Fire Shield could work though, because I would probably say even it literally radiates out from the inner core of the character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Burning all what is not the character.
Right. Including their say clothes.
Could be.
Yeah. So if you rule that it's coming from the inn and anything that's not actually physically part of them is not protected, then it will have to torch you and all your stuff. You'll live, but your stuff will be a little charred.
That's why our person on the pyre is naked.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why they strip them down. And you know what? They may even have the extra bonus of taking a spell that's fairly powerful and making players think about it before they use it.
I'm just trying to picture this moment when they all see like the
Which
one
I
infected
love
all ablaze.
I'm envisioning. Okay, the witch doctor's like, okay, strip naked. Now lay on these sticks, and then lighting them on fire.
And he's drawn all these runes across him, just like in the movie Conan the Barbarian.
Yes.
Okay?
You're burning him. No, I'm curing him. It's fine.
No, it's fine. Trust me.
He's got to be okay. He's on fire. Nobody's okay if they're on fire.
I prescribe fire and lots of it.
Thank you, Human Torch.
Flame on.
There you go.
Anyway, though, I thought I'd throw that because I liked what you were saying, Nick, about that. It made me start thinking about that. Yeah. And I was thinking, wouldn't that be kind of a neat little, I wonder how the players would handle that.
They would freak out.
Yeah. They may even try to put the fire out.
I was just thinking they're grabbing wet blankets, they're throwing sand on them.
And what a different use for that spell, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very creative. All because of our olive slime. Yeah. Very cool.
So, interesting.
Yeah.
Would never have thought of it if you hadn't brought up olive slime.
Olive slime. And the lesser known Greek olive slime, which smells like the hint of ouzo.
It goes up real fast in flame.
Yes, it does.
It's 100 proof.
And every time you do it, you say, Opa!
Opa!
All right. I guess on those notes, we're going to say goodbye for this week and stay tuned next time. So keep it original, keep it old school. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Opa!
Initiative Podcast is a production of Wild Games Productions in association with D20Radio.com. You can visit us at RFIPodcast.com or contact us on our forums at OSRGaming.org or even by calling us at 570-865-4210. This podcast is produced for entertainment purposes only. All other uses are prohibited. And remember, if your magic missile spell doesn't automatically hit, you're playing the wrong edition. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Roll for Initiative.